and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a man. Wait. I shook up the wall.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Pieces and blessings upon all my Akhis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to Split Decision, episode 50. Obviously, this is the late night edition. Split Decision is every Sunday, but I had family duties to take care of. I just had a daughter recently, and I had to take her to the hospital due to a thing or two. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And today we definitely cooking Canelo up because he requested for the WBC to order the fight between him and this unknown fighter named Avni Yildirim. I don't know who that is, but Canelo Alvarez requested from the WBC to make the fight happen. The WBC just confirmed that that's what Canelo wanted, not what they ordered. So they pretty much are Canelo prostitute because he disrespected them. He threw the belt to the trash when they ordered him to fight Gennady Golovkin at the time. And all of a sudden now they're willing to do whatever it takes to please Canelo Alvarez. He pretty much bought them. He paid them, and they will do whatever for Canelo Alvarez. So with that being stated, for all the people that's tuning in, shout out to all my Akhis in the comment section, to all the decafs that don't have the cojones to call in. Call in. Anybody can get on Split Decision. Y'all know what the motto is. So quit ducking and call in.
Mexicans, anybody can get it.
The funny part about these decafs is as soon as the live is over, they be the first one to comment, such as this guy named Logic, etc., etc. There's so many decafs. As soon as the live is over, they be the first one to comment. However, during the live, they watching, but they don't have the cojones to call in. They be in a no-show, just like Canelo Alvarez. So to all the Canelo Alvarez fans, to all the decafs, the dumb casual-ass fans, to all the YouTube trolls, to all the YouTubers, the media on YouTube that stay mentioning my name in vain, that don't have the cojones to call in, man, call in. Y'all do nothing but talk about Akhi. Y'all my biggest fans, but y'all don't have the cojones to call in, but y'all disagree with every single thing I say. So with that being stated, this is a challenge that goes out to all the decafs and old media themselves. So we're going to go ahead and cook today. So like I said, as far as the callers, please call in depending on the topic you guys want to talk about. So I'm about to talk about the Thurman topic versus Crawford. Team Terrence Crawford is not interested in the fight. I'm going to talk about the robbery that took place this week and many more. So depending on the topic you want to talk about, call in depending on that. So if you want to reserve a spot, just text me the topic you want to talk about to the number that I'm about to post on the screen so that people know what I'm talking about. And I got a call already, but like I said, I haven't even started the show, my man. You gotta let me breathe a little bit. Shout out to RJ and everybody in the chat. And 661-258-3499. I'm gonna give you a call. Hopefully you pick up. Hopefully you pick up. Because today I'm out here exposing decafs. So I got the first one already. Let me go ahead and pick up the call because he ain't letting me breathe. So I'm assuming that's a decaf. Hello, who this is and what are you calling from? Hello?
I'm calling in from the border of Yemen.
Oh, hold on. I gotta get you. Hold on.
You all right?
Yeah, repeat that one more time, cause I had you. I had to connect you to the studio.
Yeah, you good. It's your boy Akhi Ahmed. I'm calling in from the border of Yemen.
You calling in from Yemen?
Yeah, from the borders. I'm about to go into Yemen right now.
All right, that's what's up. So what's good? He talked to me.
Yeah. First off, I wanted to say, I hope that your daughter's doing well. I see she was in the hospital. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give her good health. Allah yashfiha.
All right, thanks, sir. Appreciate that, man. Cause you already know that's
in a
touchy.
second. No problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
No problem, man. And so the thing I wanted to talk about you was, did you mention yet how Terrence Crawford was ducking the smoke with Keith Thurman?
Well, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to touch on that. Like I said, every topic, I'm going to talk about it once I get to it. So is that the topic you want to talk about today? Because
I'm on the border of Yemen. I'm about to go in and literally cross the border of Yemen in like 20 minutes. So I wanted to just hear what you got to say about, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. But you calling from a USA number. I don't know how you do that because, you got to make the call internationally. I don't know how you're making that possible.
I'm using the spoof number, bro. Hey.
You're using what?
I'm using the spoof number. I got an application where I use the 313 number.
All right,
I got an application.
So when it comes to
I use a 313 number.
So you think
I'm living in Saudi Arabia?
I got you. So in your mind, is Terrence Crawford ducking Keith Thurman? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I want to know. Do you think he's ducking Keith Thurman?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you my take, but let's get your take first. Do you believe he's ducking him? Hello?
No, I want to hear what you got to say.
You're gonna hear my take, but because I got you on the phone, so I'm trying to hear your perspective and what you got to say before I give you my take. So, do you believe he ducking him? Is it yes or no question?
I believe he's ducking him, Sean Porter. Yeah, I believe he's ducking Sean Porter and Keith Thurman. To be honest with you,
I got you. That's everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Now, let me ask you this question: do you believe Canelo Alvarez is ducking Andrade and Charlo? Because you were the same caller that was defending Canelo for ducking them. I know, but you were the same caller that defended Canelo for ducking Andrade and Charlo. So are you? I want to make sure you're on the same boat with me. I'm trying to see if you're consistent. Now you say you agree that Canelo is ducking Andrade and Charlo, right?
I do. Hey, I do agree. I do agree that Canelo is ducking Andrade and ducking Charlo because they bad matchup. They bad matchup for him. He can possibly lose. I don't believe he's scared, but he could possibly lose. But that's not my question. My question
I get it. But I just want to clarify because you called last time. I remember last time I checked, you called in. I knocked you out when it came to that topic because you were trying to defend Canelo and claim he was pound for pound number one. Now, since that's out of the equation, right? Now, let's say you said that Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, you believe that Terrence Crawford is ducking both. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If Terrence Crawford does not fight Keith Thurman next, or at least a better name than Keith Thurman, then it's obviously a bad look. It's definitely a bad look if he doesn't fight Keith Thurman, unless he fights a better name. However, I won't say he's ducking them because you got to remember, when Terrence Crawford first came to the welterweight division, the first person he called out, he called out Keith Thurman. He said, I want Keith Thurman. And then Keith Thurman always gave us the political answers. He didn't want no part of Terrence Crawford at the time. But now, obviously, tables turned. Keith Thurman is coming off a loss. So he knows that he knows that if I beat Terrence Crawford, that will get me back to the top. the topic of conversation will change to Keith Thurman versus.
Let me ask you something.
Hold on. Let me finish. The topic of conversation will change to Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence, right? So the Keith Thurman knows that. That's why he's calling out Terrence Crawford. Yeah. But we all know if Canelo Alvarez, if Canelo Alvarez, for example, if Andrade or Charlo are coming off losses, man, ain't nobody gonna claim Canelo is ducking either Andrade or Charlo. So in this situation, when it comes to Terrence Crawford, both Keith Thurman and Sean Porter are coming off a loss, and that's a fact. They both coming off a loss. So how is he ducking guys that's coming off losses? He, in my humble opinion, I think just Terrence Crawford will fight Keith Thurman. He just doesn't want to fight these guys coming off losses. And even Terrence Crawford already clarified that if Sean Porter wanted, he could get it. But when it comes to Keith Thurman, I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to actually dive deep on that. So go ahead, give me your thoughts and your comments, and I'm going to go ahead and move on and start the show because you'll cut me off.
You give. Honestly, I'm sorry, Akhi, but listen, you gave the correct answer. Is that if Terrence Crawford doesn't fight somebody to Keith Thurman's level or better, then that means it's kind of fishy. And
it's not a good look. Of course, it's not a good look.
It's looking like he's fighting. It's not a good look. Yeah, if you don't fight, because Keith Thurman, hate him or love him, he's still top five. He's still top five welterweight.
Yeah, he's a top five fighter.
And if you look at the fact, is Terrence Crawford has yet. Yeah, and Terrence Crawford has yet beat somebody in the top five at the welterweight. Could you agree to that too?
Beat top five.
Keith Thurman beat that.
I mean, yeah, he haven't beat the top five because the division is so deep. The division is so deep. The division is so deep.
So there's no reason.
But he beat
no reason for him to duck Keith Thurman. I understand. So
I won't say he's ducking.
Let me finish. There's no reason for him to. There's no reason for him to avoid a Keith Thurman or Sean Porter. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying, bro. I'm not trying to argue with you or not, bro. I just wanted to hear what you have to say. Hey, you gave the right answer, but he should fight Keith Thurman or someone better. If not, it's something fishy.
Yeah. I mean, let's not act like I don't speak the truth daily. I always tell her how it is. Like I said, if Crawford has a better opponent than the Keith Thurman, then go ahead.
You're a little biased towards Crawford, but
how am I biased when I just everything that I stated is a fact? Do you disagree with anything I say?
We have a little bit.
What do you disagree with? If you think I'm a little biased, go ahead. Tell me how you expose me, for example. If you feel like I'm biased, go ahead, expose me.
Okay, Keith Thurman. No, I don't. Listen. Keith Thurman said, hey, send me the contract and you'll see how fast I sign it. Send me the contract and let's get it on. I'll put it on Instagram Live. And Crawford was talking all that shit, saying, man, you don't want to smoke, blah, 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 blah. No, he's nowhere to hear. No, he's nowhere talking.
Well, I'm gonna talk about that. Like I said, you wait on till I touch on the topic. If that's what everything you have to say, like I said, you don't disagree with anything I say, so you can't say I'm biased if you can't point out what I'm being biased toward. But I appreciate you calling in, man. You need to call in and if you get to Yemen, inshallah, you stay safe and you have a safe flight and all of the above.
You change your no problem. Hey, but you change, inshallah. Hey, you change your opinion. Allah barak fik, jazakallah khair.
You say I changed my opinion on what? Like I said, man, you can't claim nobody bias and then you can't point out what they had to say that's biased. And shout out to OG Swag, RJ and OG. OG Swag said, Del Diego, call in. Or STFU. Hey, these decafs don't have any cojones. Go ahead, call in. Hey, you have my number. OG Swag put it to you. So don't act like y'all don't have my number. But let me go ahead and dive into the first topic at hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
So I just want to make it clear, if you disagree with anything I say, you get a VIP pass, right to split decision for you to get exposed. You won't be saved by the bell. You're going to get knocked out. You saw my own Akhi calling in from Yemen. Just a week ago, he called in talk about Canelo Alvarez is pound for pound #1. Canelo ain't ducking Andrade or Charlo. And now he admitted on live, because I come with facts. He admitted that Canelo is ducking Charlo and Andrade. So you already know how Akhi comes. I come with the decaf's kryptonite, the truth. So that's why they're afraid to call in. But as soon as the live is over, they in the comment section making excuses. But these same guys will be watching me live, but won't call in. So
You don't know
for the people that don't know shit about boxing,
You
quit
better
ducking
not duck me,
and call
son.
in.
You
That's all
better
I
not
got to
duck
say.
me, son.
Now, Marinez came out and responded to Rolly on IG. Obviously, Rolly won a unanimous decision, actually, over Marinez. And one judge had it, I believe. One judge had it 110 to 1. Yeah, 110 to 10. Damn, I forgot the scorecard. I think 110 to 102 or something. 118 to 110, which was ridiculous to say the least. I mean, I don't know what fight he was watching, but if he had that type of scorecard in favor of Marinez, then it would have had made sense. But when you have a scorecard that's so ridiculous to that extent in favor of the wrong guy, Rolly, that's absolutely I mean, you just can't explain that, but the sport of boxing is just corrupted. Now, Marinez stated, congratulations to Rolando. You are not to blame for the judge's decision. Continue to train. Did you see that you are not ready to fight the top fighters? Be more humble. That's more worthy. Hold on, I got another caller. Let me go ahead and pick up the call, because I don't know if this is a decaf or not, but I need some decafs calling in. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is and where you calling from? Oh, Craig, that's my man. Man, that's always spitting knowledge. How you doing, Craig? How are we feeling today?
Man, that Rolly fight where the judges smoking crack while they were watching it, like what the hell? What fight were they watching?
Hey man, me and you are on the same boat. I mean, they had it 118 to 110 for the wrong guy. I mean, that's the type of robbery that makes the sport look bad. I mean, this kid, Marinez,
it really does, bro.
Yeah, Marinez,
really does.
like let's all be honest. Marinez he had like 300 fights as an amateur. He's a very good fighter, undefeated as a pro with 19 fights and 11 knockouts. And then they just robbed this man blind on TV in front of the whole world to see. I mean, that's a huge bad look on the sport of boxing. This is up there with the Lara robbery versus Canelo Alvarez, when Canelo, the judge had it like 118 to 108 in favor of Canelo nearly. I don't know what fight he was watching either. So it's so many bad decisions in the sport of boxing. That's, this is just ridiculous.
It's bad when Gervonta Davis, who's also signed to Floyd Mayweather Promotions, even says it's a robbery.
Right.
Comments Rolly, I forget what he said exactly, but it just, even people in your own gym are like, what the fuck was that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
because it was clearly he was getting outboxed. I mean, Rolly, he was loading up a whole lot. Every punch he threw had bad intentions behind it. He did not set up anything.
Terrible.
Yeah, he did not try.
Terrible.
And he will jab to the body on some Floyd Mayweather-ish, but he would not close the gap because, see, he was fighting a guy taller than him, or at least
an embarrassment to Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, so they have to run it back, man. They have to run it back because Marinez came out and told Rolly, congratulations, you are not to blame for the judge's decision. Continue to train. Did you see that you are not ready to fight the top fighters? Be more humble. That's worth more. So like I said, Marinez, he being a gentleman in this situation, he told the truth. You are not to blame. It's the judges. Rolly just kind of like got the victory and ran with it. I mean, I don't know what his trainer was telling Rolly in the corner either, because the trainer was telling Rolly, you're winning the fight. You know, you can't lie to your fighter. I mean, it's like, obviously in this case, Rolly got the decision. It was clearly a robbery and he got the decision. But, you know, in other fights, you might want him to know that he's losing so he could go out with a bang. Maybe he want to take it to his own hand and try to get the knockout at all costs. But when you lie to your fighter, you get him feeling comfortable. I saw Rolly trying to take chances, but he was just fighting harder and harder. He did not make any adjustment in order to land the knockout blow. You know, he was just repeating what he was doing, coming in with a Philly shell. And if y'all saw my post-fight video, you cannot come forward with a Philly shell unless you're ready to counter on some Floyd-ish. But if you're trying to apply pressure, you better off with a pickable style. And Rolly did not even put, Marinez on the ropes, not even once. That's how comfortable Marinez was in the ring. Like, he was in control of the fight. He was the ring general.
Yeah, Rolly should have a loss on his record right now. That dude needs to be 20-0. You know, he straight up got robbed. And, you know, I'm not even like, you know, I did see that Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia posted something. And, you know, I wanted to give Rolly the benefit of the doubt because Rolly, before this fight, I felt he was like, he wasn't looked at properly and he wasn't getting the recognition for being undefeated at 135. And I felt too that, you know, Ryan talks a lot, but Floyd even said this, Ryan, you don't have a belt. You know what I'm saying? And who have you really fought? You know what I'm saying? And Rolly and him would go back and forth. And then, like, remember when Javante, he kept coming at Javante, and Floyd goes, I want you to fight Rolly before you fight Javante.
Right.
So I really wanted to give Rolly the benefit of the doubt that, you know what I'm saying, that, and like you said, it's not his fault, it's the judges. But at the end of the day, when he put his hands up and, like, acted like he won, like, you should know as a fighter, you did not win. Not by, you know, and when they came back with not just a decision, but a unanimous decision that all three of them thought he won, I was like, what is going on, man? Like, what fight were they watching? Did they say the wrong name? You know? and I thought it was just a big disappointment because I really had high hopes for the kid, but he did not win that fight.
Yeah,
you know?
He did not win it. I mean, I wasn't even really watching the fight to score. I was just watching as a fan, and I was just having a conversation while I was watching the fight, and I saw it was clearly a robbery. I mean, if it's a close fight, you know, where you don't know who won, you know, obviously if I'm watching the fight and I'm not even scoring, then I'm not going to come out here and say, you know, Marinez won the fight. But I wasn't even scoring the fight, and I knew Marinez won the fight. So I don't know what the judges, you know, were doing, but in the sport of boxing, bad decisions like this should be turned over. They should turn this decision and give the right winner the decision. You know, this is not back in the 1900s where they don't have tape, where they could go back and review the fight and see who really won the fight.
They do it in every other sport, hockey, basketball, football.
I mean, that's exactly. So they should, you know, change the rules when it comes to the sport of boxing. There's so many decisions, bad decisions over the year, you know, and they turn the decision. So why not do it in the sport of boxing?
It's too bad too because Al Heyman did a hell of a job with that card.
Oh hell yeah,
that was a good card.
That was a good card. That was definitely a good card. And Al Heyman,
the Otto Wallen fight was good too. And then Kaufman really threw out his arm when I guess he had shoulder surgery before then. You know what I'm talking about? When he threw out his arm and then Wallen hit him a bunch of times and they stopped it.
Yeah. It was a good fight. The whole card was good. The David Benavidez fight was good.
Yeah, the Jose Benavidez was good. He definitely, you know what I'm saying? Even though they took his belt, like, he definitely showed why he's the best at 168. And I think that for sure, he made a statement with that fight.
Right, but I do got to give Rolly credit because he was fighting a tough fighter. Al Heyman always put his upcomers against tough competition, and
He
at the
was
same
fighting
time,
better competition than Ryan, in my opinion.
yeah, and
So
now,
far. I'm not saying Ryan's a bad fighter. I'm just saying he hasn't been tested yet.
Yeah, I mean, I still would like to see the rematch between Rolly and Morenes. But at the same time, I got to give Rolly credit for winning the rematch. He did not just get the victory and ran with it. He's saying, if y'all believe it's a robbery, let's run it back. I mean, that's something Canelo didn't do when he robbed Lara. He didn't say, let's run it back. He got the victory and ran with it. Now, Rolly, on the other hand, he want to run it back. So I must give him credit for that.
Canelo's a different type of guy. I mean, Canelo, it's Canelo is the reason why boxing gets a bad rap. With all this ducking and the WBC helping him. Like, I'm not going to watch that fight. That'll be the first fight I've decided not to watch, not to put $1 into.
And that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do because the WBC are turning to be.
Yeah. Because if we buy that fight and we all rob ourselves, we're feeding into this nonsense. We're playing a part in,
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
To boycott fights like this.
The WBC are pretty much acting like Canelo Alvarez prostitute because he pays them to make fights for him and order fights and all of that. I mean, they want to come out and put the blame on Canelo like, oh, well, we didn't order the fight. Canelo requested. So why did y'all, oblige Canelo? Why did y'all say yes to him and order the fight to take place? If it's Canelo's decision, does Canelo own the WBC? Why make the decision if Canelo requested it? Yeah, so it's just a horrible look when it comes to the WBC and Canelo Alvarez, as far as I'm concerned. So,
it's going against what Al Heyman's trying to do with TBC and trying to make the sport and get the same ratings as UFC does when boxing is like 500 years older. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get these good cards like the one last week. And then you got Golden Boy, who isn't, I know Oscar De La Hoya isn't totally happy with it, but because he pays him and Canelo probably pays, you know what I'm saying? He's made so much money off Canelo, he has to agree to it, regardless of how he feels.
Who? Oscar De La Hoya?
It's sad for the sport, yeah.
I mean, Oscar told Canelo, if you want to be a Mexican great, you have to fight Charlo and Andre. Hopkins even told Canelo, if you want to be a Mexican great, you have to fight Charlo and Andre. These guys been honest with him. It's Canelo. I mean, like I said, ain't no disrespect, but this man clearly don't have cojones, because if he did, he would be fighting the best. But I appreciate talking to you. Right. Any last comments you have before I let you go?
Yeah, I just wish that they would do a little more than just speak out to the media. If they could just somehow threaten him to drop him or something,
Who, you talking about Golden Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they don't have no choice. I mean, Canelo is saving Golden Boy at the moment. So they like, you know what, man, he could do whatever he want to do. As long as we going to make money off of him, that's all that matter. You know what I mean? So that's just how I think that's how they viewing it. But it's up to the boxing fans to boycott Canelo fights if he continues to cherry pick and destroy his legacy.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yes, sir. But great talking to you, Craig, from Vegas. Always great talking to you.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right, peace. So obviously, hopefully Al Heyman will create PBC Strap. Let me go ahead and pick up the call real quick. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is, or where you calling from? Hello? Hello?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, H Money. What's going on?
What's up, Akhi? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. So what's your take on, Canelo Alvarez? Let me inform you on this. Canelo Alvarez came out stating that, he did not really lose to Floyd. Canelo Alvarez stated that the loss to Floyd Mayweather, it wasn't really a loss because it was a boring fight. He's trying to say Floyd was running this and that. Now, what's your take on Canelo stating that, you know, he don't view the Floyd Mayweather loss as an L.
That's some bullshit, to be honest. Floyd Mayweather dominated Canelo Alvarez. He gave him a boxing lesson. He taught him a lesson. You know, Floyd dominated that fight, and he made it look easy. He outboxed Canelo, used his jab, great footwork, and he taught him a lesson. You know what I'm saying? So he might, from what I see, he probably thinks he took a loss and it made him bigger. So maybe he's saying, I'm bigger now, so I really didn't take a loss. You know, fighting Floyd Mayweather is going to make your profile get bigger. It made Canelo's name pretty much bigger, I think. That's what made Canelo, a star in the sport of boxing.
But that also, yes. Floyd Mayweather gave him a capital L. He didn't just give him an L. He gave him a capital L. The way he lost and got dominated, I mean, I don't know, Canelo just sounded ridiculous making them comments because, when he lost to Floyd Mayweather, this is what Canelo had to say. He said, this is what Canelo said that right after the Floyd Mayweather loss. Hold on, let me get the quote. Gotta get it.
Y'all hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Akhi TV. He's undefeated in debate. Can't nobody see him. All you decaps, call in. Akhi's looking for you.
Hey, they don't want to call in H Money, man. They shook. I got him shook every time they see Akhi on TV. But this is what Canelo said. He said he's very elusive. He's a great fighter, and that's why I couldn't catch him. Canelo said after the fight, I did not know how to get to him. It's that simple. He's very elusive. He's a great fighter. It was frustrating fighting him. The frustration was getting in there, but simply he's a great fighter. I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to leave here with a loss, but it happened and it hurt. And it still hurt to this day. The way Canelo Alvarez is acting, he talk about he didn't lose. You know what I mean? Not Canelo Alvarez came out stating, I didn't take a loss. I took it as an opportunity. It still didn't have, I didn't have the experience, blah, 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 blah. The fight was boring. And he was trying to say that Floyd Mayweather was running. But the thing is, when Canelo fought Gennady Golovkin for the first time, wasn't he moving? So, in other words, wasn't he running? And when Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo Alvarez, the only thing he ran was his fist to Canelo Alvarez's face. That's the only thing I saw because he was fighting him in the pocket. He was fighting him mid-range, and he was backing Canelo Alvarez up. The bigger guy. We already know Canelo was 15 to 20 pounds bigger than Floyd Mayweather. Canelo Alvarez was fighting in his bullyweight division when he was around his prime time, 23 years old. Floyd Mayweather was nearly a grandpa, and he was backing up Canelo Alvarez to the rope, smacking him. He wasn't just beating him up. He was smacking him around. So for Canelo to claim that wasn't really a loss, man, that loss must have really hurt. And it still hurt to this day. I mean, Canelo came out stating that I was born ready. That's a phrase that I always used to use before Canelo said it. And after he said it and after he got smashed, I quit using that phrase because every time I use that phrase, I thought of Canelo. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I might not be born ready. You know what I mean? This man messed up a whole phrase for me. And he talking about Floyd Mayweather, that wasn't really a loss. When he robbed Lara, if we all being truthful, when people believe that Gennady Golovkin beat him the first time, then he got caught with steroids the second time. So what the heck is Canelo Alvarez talking about? Because Floyd Mayweather took his manhood out of him. Canelo Alvarez don't even have the cojones to fight the best anymore because he's afraid to lose again. That's what Floyd Mayweather did to him when he gave him that PhD degree when Canelo couldn't graduate. So what I'm pretty much saying is, since Canelo lost to Floyd Mayweather, the fight right after that, they claim he was too young when he was 23 years old. Because if we all go back in history, when Floyd Mayweather was 23 years old, that was the best version of Floyd Mayweather when he when he knocked out Corrales. Looked tremendous too. That version of Floyd Mayweather will knock out Canelo Alvarez. So Floyd Mayweather moved up 5 divisions, and that was Canelo bullyweight division. And Floyd still whooped him like he stole something. So for Canelo 6 years later, 7 years later, still ducking the best till this day. And he ain't fighting Andre. He ain't fighting Charlo. And now he coming out talking about Floyd Mayweather instead. So it lets you know where Canelo Alvarez's mind is at. If you any threat, he's ducking you. Just like he ducking Benavidez and ducked Benavidez, claiming he ain't fighting Mexican fighters. And as soon as Benavidez got stripped of his title, according to the WBC, it was Canelo Alvarez who requested the fight to take place. It wasn't the WBC who ordered the fight. It was Canelo who requested the fight to take place between him and whoever this unknown fighter he's fighting. And just like Canelo Alvarez in the past, like I said, requested the French Fries title to avoid Charlo. So, I mean, the timeline proves it. Canelo Alvarez is destroying his legacy with his own hand because Chavez Sr., Oscar De La Hoya, Hopkins, Morales, Barrera, all these guys came out and said if Canelo Alvarez want to be great, he must fight the likes of Charlo, Andre, Benavidez, and the list goes on and on and on. So, H Money, what's your take on all of that? I mean, what is going on with Canelo Alvarez? Is he losing it at the moment?
Canelo, to be honest with you, my brother, I wanted to see Canelo fight against Demetrius Andrade. Andrade, I think, is one of the most avoided fighters in boxing. Andrade and Devin Haney, these brothers, they can't find a fight right now. Everybody are ducking them. So Canelo disappointed me as a boxing fan when he decided to avoid and duck Demetrius Andrade. That was an opportunity for an undisputed match. Canelo waited until he got stripped for his IBF world title. You know what I mean? So he didn't want nothing to do with Andrade. Right now, he needs an opponent. Nobody wants to see Canelo versus this guy, whoever his name is. Nobody wants to see
his name. We don't even know his name. Like, this is how bad it is. I can't even pronounce his name. I'm be honest with you. And just to add on to what you just said, Canelo did not just duck Andre back at when he was at 160, even at 154. Do you recall the time when Canelo was not even a champion and Andre was the WBO champion? He was calling out Canelo. He called him the B word. It was actually Andre that made the phrase popular, Canelo Alvarez don't have cojones. It wasn't Akhi, it was Andre. And what did Canelo do? He ducked Andre. He ignored Andre. And as soon as Andre vacates the WBO strap, guess who fights for that vacant strap? I kid you not, it was Canelo versus Smith. Just like he did to Benavidez today. History repeat itself. This man, the way he ducks, he has to be the biggest duck out there. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this dude is a bad example to all the fighters coming up. He making Mexican fighting look bad. I mean, Mexican fighting was known for Mexicans versus Mexicans. I mean, the great wars from the Barrera, Morales, and all of the above. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, right? But when Canelo Alvarez came to the equation, he claimed, I don't want to fight Mexicans, even though he fought Angulo, Lopez. But those fights weren't a threat. See, when it's a threat like Benavidez, where Benavidez could mess around and smash him, he like, you know what? Oh man, this guy a threat. I can't give him the fame because if he beat me, he gonna make a name off my name. So that's why he ducked Benavidez, because he knows Benavidez could beat him. And I will favor Benavidez to beat Canelo Alvarez. But that just show you that Canelo Alvarez, they claim he pound for pound number one, but he ain't even pound for pound number one. I mean, he's not even number one in the division he's fighting at. Whatever division he campaigning at, he ain't even number one at that division. So, you know what I mean?
For sure, Akhi, man, you're doing a great job. I know you go in on Canelo. You and Canelo got real beef, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, I like Canelo, though. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. I like Canelo, but I'm going to call a spade because I'm a boxing fan. I want to see Canelo versus Charlo. I want to see Canelo versus Andre. I want to see Canelo versus Benavidez. So I can't be a Canelo fan if I don't request Canelo to fight the best. See, I like Errol Spence, but I want to see the Terrence Crawford fight. I don't say, oh, Errol Spence, don't fight Terrence, man. Terrence could probably beat you, bro. Like, I request the Terrence Crawford fight. I demand the Terrence Crawford fight because I want the best versus the best. So, I'm not, let's not categorize Akhi as a Canelo hater. I'm just a truth teller. The truth hurts sometimes, and it definitely hurt the decafs and all the Canelo fans because the truth is their kryptonite.
For sure. Akhi, I want to talk about the lightweight division real quick. You know, I think the lightweight division is the hottest division in boxing. It's on fire. You got fighters like Devin and Dream Haney, the WBC world champion. You have Ryan Garcia, who's a huge name. He is the new golden boy in boxing. You got Gervonta Davis, Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. This right here, the lightweight division is on fire right now. I think Devin Haney is the best fighter in the lightweight division. When you look at numbers, like Floyd Mayweather told us, numbers never lie. Devin Haney, 24 wins in the lightweight division. He has more wins than Gervonta Davis, who's older than Devin by 4 years. Devin is 21. Gervonta is 25. Devin Haney has more wins than him. 24 wins. Gervonta, 23 wins. Okay, Teofimo Lopez only has 15 wins. Devin Haney, 24 wins. Devin Haney has 15 knockouts. Devin Haney has 15 knockouts. So that's the same amount of wins that Teofimo Lopez has. Devin Haney has boxed 126 rounds as a professional. Teofimo Lopez only 60 rounds. Devin Haney has done more in the ring than Teofimo Lopez with more wins than Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia only 60 rounds boxed as a professional.
Let me summarize all of that, because see, I feel where you're coming from. Now I disagree with you with one thing. He don't have the best resume, because Lomachenko and them have better resume, but nobody on his pretty boy stage more than Devin Haney is. I mean, he calling out everybody. I mean, every guy you named, he called them out. He want all the smoke, and you have to respect that. You know, I don't care if you love or hate Devin Haney. You have to respect Devin Haney, because respect is earned, not given. And Devin Haney, I mean, he nearly begging for these fights. I mean, he called out Lomachenko and all the guys you named. I mean, the list goes on and on. Devin Haney want all the smoke. That's why he received all the the credit for all the credit for respect points, right? But the point is, you know, he don't have the best resume yet. Eventually, he will get there because he's young. He's the youngest out of the bunch that you named. But I must clarify this, because me and you know, last time you talked to me, you dipped out of the conversation. I know you probably just hang up, but I gotta clarify this, because you came and you said, you know, I see you respect Devin Haney, but you don't pay Shakur that same homage and respect. You claim he ducked Burchett. So I want you to clarify and explain to me why you said that Burchett avoided Shakur, because I don't understand where you were coming from when you said that.
Well, let me first. I need to get back to this the resume thing, okay? Because you said Lomachenko has a better record. I mean, a better resume than Devin Haney. If that's the case, why he's ducking Devin Haney? Why is he giving up his world title to avoid Devin Haney?
And resume are two different things. I agree with I'm saying, ducking, but resume is like the names is already printed on your resume. Linares,
I understand.
Devin Haney don't have a Linares yet. I mean, give me a name. Give me a name that's better than Linares.
Akhi, let me say this though. Okay, what I'm saying is Devin Haney is the best. He's the best lightweight. I'm not going by resume right here. I'm saying he's the best. That's why Loma is ducking him.
I get what you're saying. I agree with you that he called out the best, but you say he has the best.
He's the
resume.
best, though. Do you agree that he's the best? The best fighter in the lightweight division? That's what I'm saying.
We shall see, but he definitely top 5. I mean, I won't know till I see it, but I will favor him to be a lot of the guys that he calling out. But at the end of the day, at least tonight, he's ducked for a reason. However, I understand we agree with that, but I'm talking about the Burchett situation.
Let me. We're gonna get to that, but you said resume. Devin Haney has an underrated resume. He beat Alfredo Santiago, who was undefeated 12-0 for Puerto Rico, who had a great amateur background. You know, Alfredo Santiago beat Jason Velez, who just went 10 rounds with Oscar Valdez, and he won a lot of rounds against Oscar Valdez. Alfredo Santiago he was a solid undefeated fighter, just like the guy that outboxed Rolly. He's the same type of fighter, the same type of guy that just outboxed Rolly, but Devin doesn't get credit for beating Santiago and knocking him down, and he won every round.
Because he's on the coincidental list. Now, I don't disagree with you with that. I know he got a good resume, but he don't have the best resume. Now, is he the best fighter? I mean, that we shall
Yes,
see.
he is.
However, in your opinion, he is, but we won't know till we see it because upsets happen all the time. But he is the most feared. He the most feared.
Happen with Devin Haney, Akhi. Ain't no upsets going to happen.
Okay, we can agree to disagree with that. We won't know. Time will tell.
The most. Look, let me tell you, Devin Haney has the most wins. Lomachenko, 32 years old, only 14 wins. Devin Haney has more knockouts than Lomachenko has wins. Devin Haney has the most work in the lightweight division. He's the most accomplished fighter when it comes to W's, when it comes to wins. It's about winning losses. But Akhi, let me get to the Shakur Stevenson. I said, Shakur Stevenson, I like Shakur Stevenson. You know, I like him. The thing is this. Shakur Stevenson moved up to 130 pounds, and Shakur Stevenson just fought Caraballo, who's a bum, a nobody. Shakur Stevenson is 23 years old, and Shakur Stevenson, he's trying to fight Oscar Valdez. Why not go fight against Miguel Burchett? You did interviews talking about you want to fight Burchett, but you on the internet, you sending, I want to fight Oscar Valdez, winner fight against Miguel Burchett. Fight Burchett first. You was doing all that talking. Well, you got to fight Oscar Valdez. You know, that's weak, man. Devin want to fight Loma. Pound for pound the best.
So let's talk about Shakur. Hold on. No,
Devin want to fight. Go ahead, Akhi.
Okay, first of all, you said he just fought a bum his last fight. You got to make it clear because 20 fighters turned down the fight with him. I mean, you got to stay active. You can't just, wait on the big names because the big names will never fight you.
126.
Let me finish my points. Let me finish my points, Akhi. I mean, I'll let you talk. Let me talk.
Okay, go ahead, Akhi.
Shakur fought this guy because he had to stay active in case any of these fighters that don't have the cojones to fight him right now says they want to fight him. So he stays ready in case one of these fighters want the smoke. So you can't say Shakur fought a bum because he's a youngin that's being avoided. So he had to stay active. That's first of all. Second of all, when it came to Burchett, that's a name he already called out. He said coming into 130, he said he want all the names. He want Lomachenko. He want Burchett. He want Javante. He want Cruz. He want Tevin Farmer. You name it, he want him. The reason why he called out Oscar Valdez because Oscar Valdez is about to fight Burchett. So he said, why not me and you fight and the winner fight Burchett if Burchett don't fight me next? So because Oscar Valdez was in a better position to fight Burchett, he was like, you know what? I'll fight you, Oscar Valdez, and the winner could fight Burchett because you ducking, you running. So I chased you from 126 to 130 and you still running to this day. So let's make it clear. Shakur called out Gary Russell. He said, I like Gary Russell, me and him friends, but if he want to fight, we can make the fight happen. He said, I want all these guys. You talk about Devin Haney. He even had a beef with Devin Haney at one point, and he said that he willing to fight Devin Haney if Devin Haney wants to. Devin Haney brushed it off. He said we in two different divisions. I know they're in two different divisions, but my point is you cannot say Devin Haney is this most feared guy, but bash Shakur because they both fear. So give credit where credit is due. You cannot.
Wait. Oscar Valdez, listen, Miguel Burchett trying to make the fight happen. Stop talking about Oscar Valdez.
He ain't trying to make the fight happen. He ain't trying to make the fight happen. He ain't trying to fight Shakur.
The champion, man.
Shakur already called him out. Shakur already called him out. Shakur already called him out. So what's your point? How you ducking somebody you looking to fight next? How you ducking somebody if you? So is Devin Haney ducking Lomachenko? No, is Devin Haney ducking Lomachenko? Answer that question. No, because Lomachenko turned down the fight and looked elsewhere. So if you believe Shakur is ducking Burchett, how is Burchett, looking to fight Oscar instead? It's Burchett who is not willing to fight Shakur next. It's Burchett that's looking to look elsewhere. So
man, fight Miguel Burchett. Fight Miguel Burchett, Akhi.
Is Devin Haney ducking Lomachenko?
Fight Miguel Burchett. This ain't Lomachenko gave up his belt. Your boy trying to fight against Oscar Valdez. Fight the champion. Wait. When Floyd Mayweather moved up to 135, he fought against Jose Luis Castillo. No tune-up. How many tune-ups he need? You know what I'm saying? He's 23. Devin Haney 21.
I just told you Shakur called out Burchett. He said, if I can't get Burchett next, I'll fight Oscar Valdez and the winner fights Burchett. So again, how is Shakur ducking Pritchett when he said, I want to fight you next? But you want to praise Devin Haney. You want to claim Devin Haney the best because fighters are ducking him. But you don't want to acknowledge that Shakur is ducked and he one of the most feared. And Pritchett, Oscar Valdez, and many more fighters are ducking him. You want to blame Shakur for being avoided? What sense does that make? You keep talking about Devin Haney this, Devin Haney that, and you are correct when it comes to Devin Haney. But how you go around with that same breath criticizing Shakur when Shakur is the most feared around his divisions? He the most avoided. That same guy Pritchett you keep talking about, he don't want the smoke with Shakur. He wants to fight Oscar Valdez instead. He want no confrontation with Shakur. So you keep talking about Pritchett this, Devin Haney that, but you criticize Shakur for doing the same thing Devin Haney is doing. So keep the same energy. Don't flip. You cannot praise Devin Haney. He have the same resume as Shakur, but you praise Devin Haney, but you don't praise Shakur. They both great. Give them both their respect. Respect is earned, not given. And I promise you, Shakur will smash Pritchett and Oscar Valdez. You remember that, because I know you got Pritchett being a Shakur, but tell Pritchett to sign the contract. Tell Pritchett to sign the contract, because I know 1,000% Shakur will.
Who did Shakur beat? Who did he beat?
Who Devin Haney beat?
Who did he beat? I'm talking about Shakur. Answer my question. Who did Shakur Stevenson beat, bro?
Who Devin Haney beat?
Who did he beat?
Who Devin
Haney beat? You can't even answer the question.
You emotional, bro.
You can't even answer the question. You can't even answer the question, bro. Who did Shakur Stevenson beat?
Who did Devin Haney beat? Answer the question.
Yeah, Devin Haney got 24 wins. Shakur Stevenson got 14 wins. Devin Haney got more knockouts than him. He got more knockouts than Shakur got wins. Devin Haney got more knockouts.
Name me one fighter Devin Haney beat. Go ahead.
Shakur got 14. And Devin
you sound like you about to cry, bro. I'm telling you, name me one fighter Devin Haney beat. Because Shakur fought better competition than Devin Haney. And I prove it to you right now. Because, see, people lie, women lie. However, Akhi don't lie. Because I speak the truth daily. So, like I said, you emotionally attached to Devin Haney, but you won't keep the same energy with my man Shakur. And I got to call a spade a spade. This is, Shakur Stevenson fought Gonzalez, 23-0. The fight before that, he fought for Diaz, Christopher Diaz, 24-1. That was a huge step up when Shakur was only like 7-0, right? And a lot of guys he fought was 8-1, 12-0. Riley, 16-1. And I'm talking about, this is a Shakur that's 20 years old, fighting guys that's like Jesse, 22-1 in his 5th fight. Diaz in his 7th fight, 24-1 for the interim title, fighting for the world title against Gonzalez, who's 23-0. So you can't claim like Devin Haney haven't fought any of the top competition. He haven't fought Lomachenko. The reason why he's being avoided. Same applies for Shakur. He's avoided as well. But you can't criticize Shakur and give Devin Haney all the praise when they pretty much both on the same boat. That sounds idiotic. You know what I mean? How you praise Devin Haney, claim he the best in the game, he got the best resume. That statement is incorrect because he does not have the best resume. However, he one of the best in the game because you got to call a spade a spade. He one of the most avoided for a reason because he got the goods. Same for Shakur. Oscar Valdez avoided him. Frampton avoided him. Josh Washington avoided him. And all these guys at 126, all these guys at 130, even Pritchett, the champion, don't want to smoke with Shakur. But you want to praise Devin Haney. However, you don't want to praise Shakur when they both on the same boat. You want to claim Devin Haney, the most feared, blah, 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 blah. But Shakur, the same thing apply to him. However, you want to bash him instead. So keep the same energy. Don't flip.
Step your game up, bro. Step your game up. Take this L.
Hey,
take this L, bro.
Man, you took 10 L's. You took 10 L's.
Hey, lost in the new, H-Money, in the new.
Hey, keep dreaming on. Hey, peace, H-Money. This man done got knocked out. Like I said, he too much emotionally attached to Devin Haney. At the end of the day, or at least tonight, you got to call a spade a spade. That's another body on my record. like I said, at the end of the day, at least tonight, it ain't no split decision. It's a knockout because I ain't about to get robbed by the decafs if they want to be the judge. Hell no. I take it to my own right hand. Knock this man out cold. Like I said, I don't want to do you dirty, but even my own Akhi could get it on split decision because at the end of the day, or at least tonight, the decafs could get it. The Akhis could get it. Anybody can get it because the truth separate. At the end of the day, or at least tonight, it could be my take. It could be your take. That's why it's a split decision. You know what I mean? We could be gentlemen about it, but if you want to be an a-hole, then I give it to you how you want it. How you want it is how you get knocked out on split decision. Like I tell y'all every single time, even my Akhis could get it out of love. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Even like, you know, fathers beat their kids out of love. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, don't take it the wrong way. But I hope you take it and you take the L and you move on. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, everybody in the chat, tell me how y'all feel. Do y'all agree with Akhi or H Money? Because it was a knockout. At the end of the day, or at least tonight, the truth separate. So when there's two sides to every story. When the truth is spoken, the other side is nothing but a lie. So like I said, you could be emotionally attached to Devin Haney and all that. You know, I like Devin Haney just as much I like Shakur, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? Like I told y'all, Shakur, I felt like he got the best of Devin Haney in sparring. But, you know, H Money disagreed. He said, oh, he thought, you know, Devin Haney spanked Shakur in sparring. Like, come on, bro. Like, you got to call a spade, man. Regardless of your feelings, you have to speak logically, not emotionally. Like I said, you cannot criticize that Shakur for being avoided, just like Devin Haney. Perchet don't want to fight Shakur, but you want to criticize Shakur, the one that's being ducked, the one that's being mistreated. So if you're going to do the same thing to Devin Haney, because he's being mistreated just like Shakur. So give credit where credit is deserved. And on split decision, like I said, anybody can get it. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is and where you calling from? Hello?
Akhi.
H Money. I mean, excuse me. Man, I'm about to, hey, who this is again? T-Tone, right?
You know who it is.
T-Tone, what's up, man? Who the heck is Canelo fighting next, man?
Man, hey, you look at you. The words out of your own mouth, Akhi. Now let me go.
Now hold on. Who's Canelo fighting next?
Hey, look it. Let me talk.
Who is Canelo fighting next? Name me his name. If you know his name, you won this debate. If you know his name, you won this debate. Who is Canelo Alvarez fighting next? If you know his name right now, you won the debate.
Yeah. Who? Hey, now listen.
Who's Canelo fighting next?
Listen, the words out of your own mouth, Akhi, about talking about Stevenson, how people avoid him. Man, you got to put that same energy on Canelo.
He the one
Everyone at
avoiding
168,
people.
all the champions turned it down.
Man.
Smith, Plant, Billy Joe. Come on, keep that same energy, right?
Who is Canelo fighting next, bro?
And you didn't
name me the guy.
Hey,
answer the question. Who is Canelo fighting next? If you can name me the guy he about to fight next, whoever the WBC order. Name me this guy name.
The virus, man.
Who is this guy name?
On him.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Say,
you can't blame it on the virus. You're going to blame it on the virus?
He's got to keep active.
T-Tone.
Get what you said.
T-Tone, you gonna blame it on the virus? Come on, man. Errol Spencer's fighting Danny Garcia coming off a car accident, coming off the corona, right? You got Charlo fighting Rosario in a unification bout. You got the big Charlo fighting Devyachenko, the same guy Canelo Alvarez avoided for the IBF strap. Excuse me, when he was his mandatory. You have all these fighters that's fighting all these top names coming off layoff and the corona and blah, blah, blah. And Canelo Alvarez is fighting this guy coming off a loss to Derail. And the fight before that, he fought a guy with 31 losses and 3 wins. So who is Canelo fighting next? Who is Canelo fighting next? Who is Canelo fighting next?
Fight if they don't want to fight, Akhi.
Benavidez don't want to fight him, bro? Benavidez don't want to fight him. Benavidez just called him out.
Yeah, hey.
Oh, hold up. Benavidez don't want to fight him?
He's not a champ no more.
Benavidez, they could have fought. They could have fought for the vacant strap. They could have fought for the vacant strap. Who the hell is this guy that Canelo about to fight? Name me his name.
That ain't up to Canelo.
What's his name? Yes, it is. According to the WBC, let me inform you on this, because facts separate. You know, you could talk emotionally, but facts trump emotion. Canelo Alvarez, it was the WBC that came out today and reported that we did not order the fight. It was Canelo who requested it because he wanted it. So what do you say to that?
Hey, well, what else are you gonna do, Akhi?
What do you fight? Who you supposed to fight? Fight Andre. Why you? He's still ducking Andre to this day. Why not fight Andre?
Ducking Andre. Man, tell that to Jacobs, and Jacobs will laugh in your face.
Andre. Who that? Why are you talking about Jacob? We talking about Andre. He avoided Andre at 160 for the unification bouts for undisputed. Matter of fact, he also avoided Andre back at 154 for the WBO strap. Canelo wasn't even a champion. Andre offered him an opportunity, called him the B word, called him Buta. I know you know what that means. He called him the B word, and he gave him a shot at the WBO title. Canelo said, hell no, turn down the fight. He didn't even pay attention to it. As soon as Andre vacated the WBO strap, he vacated that strap. Guess who Canelo Alvarez fight next? Smith. He fought Smith for the WBO vacant strap, for Andre's strap, but he didn't have the cojones to fight Andre. So he actually ducked Andre on more than one occasion, and he's still ducking him to this day. So don't even bring up Andre.
Without a crowd. He didn't want the Canelo fight too, just like Billy Joe.
So explain, man. Andre been calling out Canelo. He's still calling him out.
You can't make him fight, Akhi.
He's still calling him out.
You can't make him fight, man.
Who is Canelo gonna fight next? He fighting this unknown fighter coming off a loss.
Man, I wish you would have been Plant, Smith, Billy Joe.
Billy Joe still calling him out.
168. We're talking 168, Akhi.
Billy Joe still calling him out. And Billy Joe is a nobody no damn way.
Just like you said, you got to stay active with Shakur. Keep it with Canelo.
I just said Andre willing to fight him. Andre willing to fight him. Trawler willing to fight him. Benavidez willing to fight him. Caleb Plant just called him out. You can't request, you can't want, you know, what Canelo Alvarez did, he tried to fight Caleb Plant, but he tried to fight Caleb Plant in a month span. He wanted to fight Caleb Plant when Caleb Plant just came off a win. So Canelo wanted to fight him in a month span. Caleb Plant was like, I don't have time to prepare. You got to give me time to prepare. So he like, yo, let's push for a December date. Canelo said, absolutely not. And he fought Kovalev instead, and he made sure that Kovalev fight was going to happen. He paid him the right amount of money, and that's why Kovalev came out stating that Canelo Alvarez is a diva. If you thought I could win the fight, you don't know shit about boxing, because Canelo Alvarez was trying to force the fight in a short time span. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, or at least tonight, Canelo could have fought Andre. He could have fought at least Smith. A guy coming off a robbery, but it is what it is. He's still a champion. Billy Joe Saunders, he had at least a name, even though he just fought on a YouTube undercard and nearly lost the fight. I mean, you could have fought Andre, the fighter we want you to fight. You could have fought Trollo. You could have fought Benavidez, your own people. But you choose to fight for Benavidez strap, the vacant strap. So explain that to me, T-Tone.
Hey, Akhi, have you been having me blocked on my voice? Like you do all the time.
T-Tone, I just told you.
Hey,
answer
man,
the question.
Can't hide from the
answer the question. Who is Canelo next fight? Like, who is he fighting next?
Hey,
Name me the guy he fighting next. Who's this guy?
Hey, Akhi,
what's his name? What's his name?
Let's be fair now. I'm going to answer your question, and then you're going to answer a question for me, right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Just like you said.
Exactly.
I'm going to answer your question. You said about Shakur, if they're dunking him, you got to stay active.
Nobody ducking Canelo. Nobody ducking Canelo. Canelo, they hunting him.
Billy Joe, they're not ducking Canelo.
You're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. They begging for the fight. How are they ducking him when they begging for the fight? Billy Joe Saunders begging for the fight. Caleb Smith begging for the fight. Andre begging for the fight. All the 175 champions begging for the fight. All the 168 champions begging for the fight. All the 60 pounders begging for the fight. So who the heck is ducking Canelo? Who the heck is ducking Canelo? You know what I mean? Like, what the heck you talking about, T-Tone? I think you still concussed from the last time I knocked you out. You don't got your facts straight because you talking emotionally, not logically. But facts trump opinions. You know, like I said, everybody got an opinion. Like, everybody got an asshole. So let's talk facts. Canelo Alvarez, he ducked Benavidez, claiming that he do not want to fight Mexicans. And that's a fact, right? But he fought Angulo and Lopez. And now all of a sudden, he want to fight this guy. I don't know who his name is, Ivan. That's his name, Ivan, who coming off a loss for Benavidez Strap at 168. But he won't fight Benavidez, though. Explain that to me.
Akhi, he wanted to fight a champion, but they don't want to fight
Benavidez is a
Akhi.
champion.
You
Benavidez
can't
was a
make
champion.
Smith Plant and Billy Joe drag him in the ring and fight. So what's Canelo gonna do, man?
Billy,
Like you said,
Billy Joe.
but Shakur,
Wait,
you
keep
gotta
talking
stay
about
active.
Billy Joe. Billy Joe signed the contract to fight him. Billy Joe signed the contract to fight him. It was Rona who canceled the fight. Billy Joe actually signed the contract to fight him. What are you talking about?
Billy Joe wanted to fight Canelo. He
signed the contract. They already accepted. The fight was on, but the Rona canceled it. So you keep talking about Billy Joe ducking, but he not. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Man, Billy, no.
You lost.
That ain't not what I heard.
You lost in the sauce.
What I heard.
It don't matter what you heard. I'm telling you the facts.
No, it's the truth.
I'm telling you the facts.
Canelo, Billy Cole. Is Billy Joe fighting Canelo?
It was Rona that canceled the fight. And then because of what he did when he said he was going to smack women, that canceled the fight. So anyways, I'm going to ask you this question. You keep talking about Canelo has the best resume in the game, right? So is Sean Porter pound for pound number one because he willing to fight the best? He's actually fighting the best, and he has the best resume in the game, or at least one of the best resumes. So is Sean Porter one of the best in the game? Is he top 3 pound for pound?
Yeah, hey. I wouldn't say top 3 pound for pound, but Porter's got my respect. And
why is Canelo top one? Right? Why is Canelo pound for pound number one when he's ducking the best and you claim that Canelo has the best resume? Sean Porter got a better resume. Errol Spence got a better resume. And they still willing to fight the best. Errol Spence fighting Danny Garcia next, coming off a car crash. And who the heck is that Canelo Alvarez fighting next? Ivan, who's coming off a loss. And the fight before that, he fought a guy with 44. No, hold on. I believe 33 losses and 3 wins or something like that. A crazy record. But Errol Spence, on the other hand, who's coming off a car accident, he don't want no tune-up. He said, let me get Danny Garcia. So what the hell are you going to say to that? What do you got to say to that? Why is Canelo ducking the best and fighting Ivan instead? From all the names, you said last time you came on the show, you said that Canelo will fight a champion next. And now he's fighting Ivan. So explain to me, how is Canelo Alvarez move is justifiable in your eyes?
You just talking. Let me
answer the question. Answer the question. I'm giving you your turn. Yes, like I said, you keep telling me that Canelo's gonna fight a champion next. Now he's fighting Ivan. According to the WBC, they ordered the fight to take place, and it was requested by Canelo. So you said, according to your own words, last show you called in saying that Canelo will be fighting a champion next. Now he's fighting Ivan, who's coming off a loss. So are you going to acknowledge that Canelo don't have the cojones to fight the best and destroying his own legacy?
I can't. Is it my turn now?
No shit. Duh, it's your turn, man. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay,
you're
T-Tone? Are you okay?
Sure. All right, now
answer the question. Answer the question.
Right here.
Answer the question. Go
All
ahead.
right. Canelo at 168. Plant, Smith, Billy Joe, they turned it down.
Man, you're still deflecting, man. Hey, Tito, I gotta let you go, bro. You ain't trying to debate peace, brother. Like I said, my man. Hey, at the end of the day, or at least the night, the truth separate. So I asked this man a simple question. This man, he acting like me no speak you no English. Stop acting like I'm not speaking any English to you, T-Tone. I asked you a simple question. You said he was gonna fight a champion next. And what's happening? He's fighting another cherry pick. Another cherry pick. But I guess these Canelo fans got nothing to say anymore. They want to lie instead. They want to deflect instead. He keep talking about these guys that's willing to fight him that we don't even care about. We want him to fight Andrade, who doesn't have an opponent yet. We want him to fight Charlo. We want him to fight Benavidez. We want him to fight the best around every division he campaign at. But that's not what Canelo Alvarez is willing to do. And his fans, like I said, they rather deflect, they rather lie. when we telling the truth right in front of their face. This is the same man that said Canelo's going to fight a champion next. Canelo slapped T-Tone right on his face. Hey, T-Tone, Canelo pimp slapped you because you thought he was going to fight a champion next. Canelo was like, man, you thought, T-Tone, man, I'm about to cherry pick a guy coming off a loss, and his name is Ivan. Nobody know him. So Canelo's still ducking to this day. And to all the decals that don't know shit about boxing, including T-Tone, quit ducking.
Better not
and
duck
call
me,
in on split decision.
Better not duck me, son.
Oh, dog, I got. Hold on. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is, or where you calling from?
Man, I just want to say, man, tonight's show was a hoot, man, and I had to break out the hook on it, man. But
this is my man OG. Finally, we got my man OG in the studio. How you doing, OG? Talk to me.
Most def. I'm happy to be here, man. I just want to say, it's a live show tonight, and man, it's so much stuff going on right now in the sport of boxing. I wanted to touch on, and you really hitting nail on the head again as usual, sir. Accolades to you and your platform because you carrying it up in here. But I want to say something, man. These franchise belts, these ducks, these political movements and these cheaters in the sport right now, and how the WBC and these fighters are overlooking everything that's going is really turning away, the prime money from this sport. And it's really turning away the heart of this sport and the people who, are real diehard boxing fans who are going to put the blood, sweat, and energy into keeping this sport moving in a prodigious fashion toward the future. So the way I'm looking at it right now is, like I wrote in the comments a while back, if anything, what they're trying to cause is separation and division within the sport, because genetically, some of these cats can't compete on the same level. So you got a guy like a Devin Haney, for instance, who's a very versatile fighter, who, comes from, a background of some of the greatest fighters who's ever lived. His dad, Bill, has had him in the sport since he was a pup, very much like Floyd came up. So the boy is a born boxer, boxing brain, high boxing IQ. And when he gets in there, he performs his behind off. And why isn't Lomachenko calling the Devin Haney out? Devin Haney is, screaming Lomachenko's name. He wants to deflect the Tank. Right. And I know Styles makes fights. So he wants to go to Tank because he understands that Tank is an in-pocket fighter. And Lomachenko knows that he works the outside. So he's like, I can control him with my jab. And that's his mindset. And, that'll be a better fight for me. But I can't mess with a Haney because a Haney knows how to go in and out. He knows how to use his jab. He knows how to work the pocket. On top of that, he knows how to make adjustments. So I don't want to mess with a guy with a high boxing IQ like a Devin Haney, but I'll settle with a Tank just to prove a point. Right. And sit down somewhere with that bull crap. Right. Then we got Lopez getting this franchise champion, French fries championship belt, on top of Canelo getting this French fries championship belt. And they just throwing out all these just arbitrary, crazy, no-name belts out to all these different people in this sport that haven't earned it, haven't done anything to say, you know what, Charlo, 160, right? Charlo's got this 160 belt. If Canelo has some balls on some cojones, as you say, he'd want to unify the title for his legacy. He's making the Mexican people look bad right now. So the first thing that he want to do, knowing that he only has a few fights, with 7 fights left in this DAZN contract, is not fight a Yildirim, is not fight a Spilding, is not fight John Ryder. He would go for Andrade, and he would also go for Charlo to submit his legacy, unify these titles, put them together, and say, I was the best to ever do it. You don't have the balls, you don't have the heart. So let's get him a French fry. Let's give him a French fries championship belt. And
he requested. He requested.
Supposedly, right? So what they're doing, if anything, is really polarizing the sport. And they're playing a race play. I understand it's money at the end of the day, and that's how it originally got started, is with the mob. Guys like Maya Lansky and these cats in Las Vegas, and you put one side against the other, or one so-called race against the other race, and people would put their money up to see who would win. I understand that side of the game. But the problem is that when you start putting lives at stake, like with the Deontay Wilder versus
the Tyson Fury fight, when you start allowing people to come in the ring and hit with bare knuckles and cause serious injuries to some of the greatest fighters that's ever lived, you're destroying your own sport. So they're destroying our sport from the inside, trying to polarize and politicize it, but not giving the sport the fruition, the strength, and everything it needs to keep moving forward, like I said, in a prodigious fashion to where it can sustain for years and years to come. They're destroying our sport. I'm hating this Yildirim crap. I'm hating these franchise belts. I don't see how Lopez got a franchise belt. I don't understand why Lomachenko is not calling out Devin Haney. You know, I don't understand why.
I know you made so many great points, man. I mean, but I got to emphasize on this one right here because, you know, I made a video. I think yesterday I dropped a video on the WBC or the day before where I exposed the WBC when it came to the French fries title. Now, Errol Spence tweeted, he said too many boxers calling themselves world champions. We have pretty much too many world titles. That's what he means. We have to tighten up all these titles. You know what I mean? Laughing emojis. So even Errol Spence is putting light on it because now the WBC, like you said, you know, they pretty much acting like the prostitutes of boxing. And they told me, oh, that's not professional, Akhi, you know, but I'm going to call a spade because, see, what a prostitute is someone that's going to show you love because of money. It ain't about you spitting game or none of that. If you pull out some money, they're going to show you game. They're going to show you love, right? So with Canelo Alvarez, for example, remember, Canelo Alvarez, he actually disrespected the WBC. He threw it to the trash when they told him to fight Gennady Golovkin the first time. And he went elsewhere after he beat Cotto. So after that, you know, the WBC tried to do whatever to get on his good side. They defended him for cheating in the Gennady Golovkin rematch. They now, every time he given them money, you know, he requested a French fries belt. According to the WBC president, Suleiman, it was Canelo who requested it. He paid money for it. He purchased the belt. And guess what the WBC did? They granted it to him. They gave it to him. So that's exactly what a prostitute does. You know, it don't matter what you do to the prostitute. If you throw money on her, she's going to show you love, right? So that's what the WBC is doing. They acting like the prostitute of boxing. So, you know, at the end of the day, or at least the night, something have to be done because we cannot have, you know, more than like we trying to clean it to one face, one name in every division. That's what Deontay Wilder always preaches. One face, one name. And I think that's what the PBC is trying to do is establish a PBC belt under the PBC franchise, which it might save the sport of boxing. But for the meantime, the WBC, right? Now they have an interim title, a diamond title. I don't even know what that is, right? And they have the regular title, the WBC, and then they have now the French fries title, where you cannot win it nor lose it. But some way, somehow, if you got the complexion for the protection, you need the complexion for the connection to get the franchise title. Even to purchase it, you have to have the complexion for the connection. Now, Lopez, they said if he beats Lomachenko, then he a French fries title champion. So even though the title is not a championship, nor a title, nor a belt, according to the president. So now, essentially, we're going to have two franchise champion per division, or French fries champion. Let me call it what it is, per division. Now, let's say Devin Haney fights Lopez, the winner. And let's say Devin Haney beats Lopez. Does that mean we're going to have a third franchise champion? Because the franchise champion cannot win nor defend the title. So, in other words, you're not going to fight for your title. I mean, nobody going to fight for your title. So you're going to keep it to the end of your career. It's like a trophy. So we essentially, we're going to have simultaneously 3 champions per division, franchise champion, French fries champion. So, I mean, that's destroying the sport when we're trying to clean the sport to have one face per division.
You know, and this is a lot of it at the end of the day is, you know, these guys, like I said, you know, some of these individuals will not be able to compete at the levels of a Devin Haney once he gets into his prime, over a Shakur Stevenson, who is an amazing boxer once they get into their prime. So right now, what they're trying to do more than anything is cement their legacies as being something within the sport, to say that they were there and they did do something. Because once these guys, like a Shakur Stevenson, like a Devin Haney, start to walk into, you know, their pretty boy days, man, it's over for the rest of these cats.
It's over.
It's over for the rest of these cats.
And that's why they made the WBC belt, which is the witness protection belt, the French fries belt, right? The WBC stand for We Be Cheating, the World Boxing Corruption Organization. That's what it stands for. You know what I mean? So they told, Charlo and Devin Haney, they can't be franchised when they were trying to fight Canelo and Lomachenko, but Lopez could be franchised. So it's so much contradiction, so much hypocrisy, and so many lies and deceit by the WBC. That's why something has to be done. And Suleiman is destroying his own brand with his own hand. But I got to get your thoughts on this topic. Now, David Benavidez, he reacted to the WBC ordering the Canelo Alvarez versus a Veer fight for the WBC vacant strap, or should I say, he reacted to Canelo Alvarez requesting the WBC to order the fight to take place. Right now, David Benavidez talked to his Instagram, and he posted a picture of. Hold on, let me get it on my screen. He posted a picture where it said, Billy Joe Saunders, he tweeted this. He said, I didn't see Canelo Alvarez wanting to fight, wanting the WBC when Benavidez had it a week ago. When Benavidez had it a week ago, the WBC cherry picker. And then David Benavidez, he posed a question. What fight would you rather watch? Canelo versus Avni or Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez? And that's not $1 million question. I'll tell you that. Obviously Benavidez. I challenge anybody that's going to tell me Avni, a person that's coming off a loss, again, a person that fought 2 fights against a guy with like 33 losses and 3 wins. So what's your take on what Benavidez have to say? Because obviously in the sport of boxing, is known for the Mexican legacy of all the Mexican great wars, from the Barrera, Morales, Barrera, Marquez, and the list goes on. And Canelo Alvarez put a stop to it, because as soon as Canelo Alvarez came to the scene, he changed the game, because he said he don't want to fight Benavidez. When he got asked, do you want to fight Benavidez? He said, Benavidez is my own people. I don't want to fight my people. Even though Canelo fought Angulo, Canelo fought Lopez. So it's a huge contradiction. It's a huge lie, because these fights took place when Canelo was popular. Matter of fact, Angulo, that fight was on pay-per-view, and he was Mexican. His name was Pitbull. So what's your take on what Canelo said and what David Benavidez had to say?
Okay, this is it. And this is the end-all, be-all when it comes down to that. Canelo don't want that smoke. Benavidez, I'm a quote Floyd when I say this, is a hell of a fighter. And Canelo doesn't want any opposition that's going to take him out of his comfort zone. He is a straightforward fighter. He has no mobility, no agility. Boy's got hands. I'm not going to lie. The boy can throw them, but he cannot move out of his comfort zone. And that's how he was exploited by Laura Jacobs and by Floyd. And he knows that in his mind. He gets into a dog.
Oh, gee, what happened? Oh no, I'm gonna get my man back. I think his phone is dead or something. Oh, gee, man, you gotta call back, fam. I think his phone dead. But anyways, I'm gonna finish it for you, and ain't no problem. So essentially, what my man is saying is that obviously in the sport of boxing, there's so many wars, and now Canelo Alvarez want to change the game up. So, Canelo is destroying the Mexican legacy with his own hand. You can't claim that you won't fight Mexicans, but you fought Lopez, a guy that fights at 140 that had to move up 2 divisions in order to fight Canelo Alvarez. He fought Angulo right after he lost to, I believe, Floyd Mayweather on pay-per-view. And that was considered as a good fight. And everybody claimed Canelo back. He back better than ever. He learned from that L, or that ass beating he took by Floyd. So all of a sudden, you know, Canelo fights these Mexican fighters when he knows stylistically is a great style matchup for him. When he knows these guys, he could beat these guys. But when stylistically the fight is competitive, or the guys actually he's going up against is good, then he don't want the fight, like the Benavidez fight. So hold on, let me try to see. OG, call me back, my man. I don't know what happened. Oh man, what the hell? I don't know what happened. I think, oh man, my phone disconnected. Hold on. Go back to commercials real quick. So my apologies. I truly apologize. The phone got disconnected. The bill is due, but ain't no way I could pay it at this moment. I don't know. I didn't know it was due today, so I got to get that straight with. So hopefully next show I'm gonna have OG and some of the other callers and the brothers of mine that called in. I'm gonna have y'all call in on Boxing Hood. Actually, Boxing Hood is not going to be Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Is going to be Thursday. So I actually wanted to talk about many different topics with OG because I actually had questions for my brother. You know what I mean? So hopefully he will call in Thursday. If not, we're going to catch him on Split Decision next episode. But I'm going to definitely get in touch with him outside of the show. So with that being stated, I'm going to go ahead and finish this episode. And I'm going to have callers calling in on Boxing Hood episode 2, which will be this Thursday instead of Wednesday. Like I said, I had to reorganize my schedule because my daughter got sick and I had to take her to the hospital, and that kind of like delayed a lot of my plans. So I truly apologize when it comes to that. But either way, OG, man, my bad, my man. He's in the comment section. So OG, that's my broski right there. You know what I mean? So to all my Akhis, I appreciate the love and support. And let me go ahead and finish my points for OG. So essentially, you know, David Benavidez is really disappointed in Canelo because he respects Canelo. He called out Canelo respectfully. He did not disrespect Canelo. Let's make that clear. But Benavidez is starting to see what Akhi be preaching, which is, man, this man really don't have no cojones. This man really making Mexican boxing look bad because he stays maneuvering and he's still maneuvering to this day. I mean, what can you really say when it comes to Canelo Alvarez? His fans are starting to give up on him. They ran out of excuses. We got to brush off their excuses and wipe them off before talking about him because their excuses are getting dusty. They're repeating the same talk point. That's why these decafs don't have the cojones to call him because they know what time it is. You know what I mean? I mean, you saw EL, whatever his name is, OG Swag and RJ, you know, challenged him to call in the whole time. He won't call in. You know what I mean? So with Canelo Alvarez, he running out of time. Where to my man Dante, because eventually your days are numbered in the sport of boxing. I mean, how many more years does Canelo Alvarez have? 5, 6, 7, 8 years? And you got to keep in mind, if you're not going to fight the best during your prime, you will never fight the best. So even Billy Joe Saunders is saying it. He telling Canelo Alvarez, even Billy Joe Saunders pointed it out. Canelo didn't want no part of Benavidez. He didn't want no part of the WBC at 168. But as soon as Benavidez gets stripped of his title, he knocking on the door. He's trying to see who he's about to cherry pick for the WBC, right? The same thing happened back in 154. I told you all, Andrade was the champion. He called Canelo Alvarez the B word. He called him puta and all of that. He the one that's known for the phrase, Canelo, you don't have no cojones. I got that from Andrade. All credit goes to Andrade. I give credit where credit is due. That wasn't my words. That was Andrade words. I didn't even know what cojono meant till Andrade put me on it. So, I mean, Andrade did all of that, and Canelo was the no-show. As soon as Andrade vacated his strap, Canelo fought for the WBO strap instead. I kid you not. And if you don't believe me, like Deontay Wilder said, Google that shit. Since everybody believe in Google. Canelo Alvarez fought Smith for the WBO title as soon as Andrade vacated the strap, but he won't fight Andrade. And Canelo wasn't even a champion. But now Canelo, he's a champion at 168. However, he's fighting for a vacant strap. What sense does that make? Since when champions been fighting for vacant straps? Only if you're on the hope list. They did it with Canelo Alvarez and they did it with Lomachenko. Remember, Canelo Alvarez, they gave him the fight. They're trying to give him the fight right now with Ivan for the vacant strap at 168. They did it with Lomachenko. He was a two-time world champion, and they gave him the fight with Luke Campbell to fight for the vacant strap at 135 against Luke Campbell. When Luke Campbell was supposed to fight Devin Haney. How is a champion fighting for a vacant strap? That's the question that has to be raised. And for the WBC, it's trying to save face. They claim, well, listen, we did not order the fight. It was Canelo Alvarez who requested the fight. But why y'all acting like the prostitutes of Canelo? Why y'all have to listen to Canelo? If y'all wanted Canelo to fight for the strap, give him somebody worth it. Make Benavidez versus Canelo. David Benavidez said it. He said, I just lost my strap. I take full responsibility for it. But let me fight for my strap. So order Benavidez versus Canelo. That makes more sense. That's a better fight. That's a hell of a fight. But Canelo doesn't want that. He paid the WBC to order this fight. He paid the WBC to cherry pick for him. That's why the WBC is the witness protection belt or the witness protection plan for Canelo Alvarez. So, I mean, people lie, women lie. However, numbers don't lie. So like I said, time and time again, you know, Canelo could hide. I mean, he could run, but he can't hide. We can still see you. So Canelo Alvarez, even if he fights Ivan for the strap at 168, at the end of the day, or at least the night, he's still going to have to fight his mandatory, which is David Benavidez. And he will still be exposed because he will duck David Benavidez then when he becomes his mandatory. And you can't request the French fries title. Matter of fact, that's probably what he will do. Who am I kidding? That's probably what he will do. So let me go ahead and talk about Crawford. Crawford is not interested in Keith Thurman fight, says Bomac, and this is what Bomac had to say.
It gotta have meaning to these fights and shit. Keith Thurman don't got no damn belt. Do we know? He ain't even ranked to the top 5 in the welterweight. Pierce he want to clear the division out. And who got the 2 belts left? Pacquiao and Errol Spence. And those are the 2 fights that Pierce won. It's real simple. Why would I waste my time? We even sit down and say, man, we should fight that motherfucker. Man, fuck all that shit. Look, going to camp for 2.5 months and shit, and then go all through all of that, all finding sparring partners. I'd rather you waste my time. I'd rather waste my time. Be quiet. I'm on the phone. I'd rather waste my time doing that looking for some spot for Pacquiao or Earl Spence than try to do it for Keith Thurman. It won't mean anything if Terrence did beat that dude. What is it going to say? What is it going to say? Nothing. Oh, Terrence beat Keith Thurman. He should have beat him anyway because, Keith's arm is hurting or his hand is always hurting. Come on, man.
Now, I totally disagree with Bomac because he pretty much said, why would we prepare for Keith Thurman, get sparring partners, this and that, and then beat Keith Thurman? Everybody going to blame it on his injury. Everybody going to blame it on this, on that. We don't care about Keith Thurman. I'd rather go through the hustle to get sparring partners for Manny Pacquiao or Errol Spence. Yeah, but that sounds like you saying we're going to wait till we fight Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence. We're not going to fight nobody in between unless it's a better name than Keith Thurman, right? And how many fighters out there really that have a better name than Keith Thurman that Terrence Crawford has an opportunity to fight right now? Not too many, right? So I totally disagree with Bomac because, I do agree with the fact that, yes, Keith Thurman is coming off a loss. However, he's still one of the best in the game, especially at welterweight. He's still top 5. If we rate the top 5 is Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao. You got to be Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Ugas, you know what I mean? Or you could put Ugas above one of those guys. But nevertheless, Danny Garcia is up there. However, it's a deep division. So on one hand, Crawford, he did call out Keith Thurman coming into the division when Keith Thurman was undefeated. Now, as soon as Keith Thurman took the loss, Crawford, he's not as interested. But unless you have better names to fight, then why not fight a Keith Thurman? He's still a good name. He still beat a Danny Garcia. He still beat a Sean Porter. He still fought a Manny Pacquiao. He still have a good resume, in other words. So unless, like I said, you have a better name to fight than a Keith Thurman, unless, because Bomac kept talking about the champion. Crawford wants champions, but the champions are occupied. For example, Errol Spence is fighting Danny Garcia, a name fighter, right? Manny Pacquiao, he's not interested in Crawford. Bob Arum claimed that he was about to make the fight, but money issues stopped the fight from happening. So, okay, the money's not happening. So you got to move on and stay active. So who are you going to stay active against? So unless Keith Thurman fights at 154 against the champion there, I mean, not Keith Thurman, Terrence Crawford, then it's definitely a bad look when it comes to Terrence Crawford. Now, like I said, I won't say he's ducking because Keith Thurman and Sean Porter are coming off losses. However, it is a bad look when Crawford is looking to fight somebody that possibly, let's say, for example, Benavidez, right? Amir Khan. These guys aren't the killers at 147. So Crawford did fight those guys. But it was A-okay because he was on the top rank side. And then Timothy Bradley came out and he went Shannon the Cannon, calling out all the PBC fighters, claiming y'all got to come on this side and fight Terrence Crawford. Quit blackmailing Terrence Crawford, this and that. Remember when Timothy Bradley had his moment on ESPN? So we were like, okay. Now we had Sean Porter claiming he interested in the fight. Ugas did as well, but Ugas then turned down the fight to fight for the WBA title, I believe. Then now Keith Thurman saying, send me a contract, watch I sign it. So, like I said, Bradley, Terrence Crawford got exactly what they asked for. Now they are invited to the party. So don't act like you don't want to come to the party now. You know what I mean? Like I said, I like Terrence Crawford as a fighter. I believe he's pound for pound number one. However, at 147, you got to get your hands on any fighter you could get your hands on. I mean, Errol Spence just fought Kell Brook, Lamont Pearson, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, now Danny Garcia. You never know who he's going to fight next. It might be Manny Pacquiao. It might be Keith Thurman. It might be Terrence Crawford. So it's back-to-back name fighters, tough fighters, top-level fighters. He's building his brand up. He's building his resume, and that equal money. Now, on the other hand, Terrence Crawford is playing the waiting game. I got to give him credit. He still wants to fight the best, which is Errol Spence, the number one welterweight. He still wants to fight Manny Pacquiao, but still, you have to stay active. And what better way to stay active than to fight a name fighter like Keith Thurman? I mean, y'all can't claim he's coming off a loss. That's why y'all not interested, because that's even justifiable, because Manny Pacquiao fought Floyd Mayweather leftovers left and right, and he made a bunch of money doing it. So why not fight, Keith Thurman? Like I said, even if Terrence Crawford fight Kell Brook, that's a good name too. But Kell Brook is an Errol Spence leftover, if you think about it. I know he's coming off a win, but still, Keith lost to Manny Pacquiao. That's not really much of a bad loss, because Keith Thurman actually gave Pacquiao a good fight. It was competitive. It was a close fight, right? On the other hand, Kell Brook, last time I checked, back in 2017, he claimed he could no longer make the weight. He blamed the loss on Errol Spence on the weight. Now, 3 years later, he could still make the weight and this and that. So, like I said, Terrence Crawford has to be very calculated on his next move. Like Bomac keeps talking about, they don't want to go through the hassle of getting sparring partners, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to do that eventually for your next opponent anyway. Either way, you're gonna have to get sparring partners for Crawford. I mean, don't blame it on the sparring partners. So, like I said, Terrence Crawford has to be careful what he does, because he's on the coincidental list. Everything you do, you are damn if you do, damn if you don't. So you damn if you do the right thing, let alone the wrong thing. So making the wrong business decision, passing on to Keith Thurman, a name fighter, is the wrong way to go. Is definitely a bad look. I won't call it ducking, because like I said, Keith Thurman is coming off a loss. Sean Porter is coming off a loss. And Crawford did say if Sean Porter wanted, he could get it. He also said, when he first came to 147, he called out Keith Thurman. It was actually Keith Thurman who was not interested in the fight. However, Keith had a change of energy. Keith, he's on his don't duck me son mode.
Better not
he
duck
ain't
me,
playing.
son. You better not duck me, son.
Keith really looking for all the smoke. He realized, listen, they keep talking about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence as the big mega fight. So if I could beat a Crawford, I could get myself back to the sweepstake, to the top level fights, the best versus the best. You know what I mean? That's the mindset of Keith. Crawford, on the other hand, he's kind of like trying to do what Errol Spence did, which is, I'm going to play Keith Thurman like a fool. I'm going to do him how he did me. When I was begging for the fight, I was calling him out, and he kept talking about, who have I fought? You need to fight this guy. You need to fight that guy. You need to fight Amir Khan. You need to fight Jeff Horn. You need to fight Kell Brook. So Crawford is like, you know what? I'm going to do that to Keith since the table turned. But that could backfire, because when Errol Spence did it, see, Errol Spence is in a great position where he's fighting name fighters anyway. He's fighting Danny Garcia. That's a name fighter. Crawford, on the other hand, he don't have that luxury to fight these name fighters, so he's going to get criticized. See, Errol Spence could look past Keith Thurman because he's coming off a loss. He could look toward Danny Garcia, and people won't criticize him, especially him coming off on a car accident. That's actually a dangerous fight. On the other hand, Crawford, he pound for pound number one. You got to behave like pound for pound number one with the business decisions making, because now people going to look at Crawford and are like, okay, you passed on Keith to fight who? And then if it's not a name fighter, it's definitely going to look bad on his behalf. Now, Thurman, like I said, he pushing for the fight. He told Crawford, send me a contract. send me a contract and let me post it on IG and sign it live. Like I said, hey, Keith on his don't tuck me, son. You know what I mean? He back at it.
Better not duck me, son. You better not duck me, son.
So that's what Keith said. He said, right now, I want Crawford more. Keith Thurman insisted, you know, Crawford, he got under my skin. Errol, that's a timeline issue. I know how the game works. We got the same manager. That's a timeline issue. This Crawford dude, send me a contract, bro. Tell ESPN to send me zeros my way. They know an appropriate number. I will sign it on the dot lines and send it back your way. Don't act like I ran from you. You never got respect in the game anyway at 147. You ain't pushing buttons at 147. You ain't touching Sean Porter. You ain't touching Thurman. You ain't touching Garcia. You ain't touching Spence. I'm going to run out of fingers. I could name all my opponents you ain't touch. I'm going to run out of fingers. Boy, stop it. Just stop it. That's what Keith Thurman told Crawford. So like I said, he back on his don't duck me son mode, which I'm loving it. You know what I mean? Like I said, that's the Keith Thurman we want back, bro. We want you to be direct. We want to know what you want, because even Crawford, last time Keith Thurman called him out, he said, bro, if I send you a contract, I bet you find a way out. So I'm glad we getting these Keith Thurman that knows what he wants, because now we could, like, you know what? Let's see what Crawford thinks of this, right? So like I said, I know Crawford called out Keith Thurman first when he first moved up to 147. It was Keith that was kind of like, I'd rather be your manager than the fighter that fights you. I'd rather manage and tell you who to fight next so you could get, respect points in order to fight me. But again, Keith wanted to welcome Danny Garcia right away to 147. He didn't question Danny Garcia's resume, but he questioned Crawford's resume, even though Crawford was the undisputed 140-pounder, right? But like I said, if Crawford doesn't have a better name at this point to face, then he's going to make himself look bad if he fights a Kell Brook, for example, or any of these guys. That's not a better name than a Keith Thurman, because Keith Thurman is still a good fight. Matter of fact, it's a great fight on pay-per-view. I will definitely enjoy the fight. It's one of the best fights in the game to be made stylistically. I mean, leading up to the fight, the trash talk, the back and forth, it's just going to be great for the sport of boxing. So just like back in the days, man, like Errol Spence, on one hand, he's fighting the Sean Porters, the Danny Garcias. He about to fight Danny Garcia next. He might fight Manny Pacquiao. He might fight Keith Thurman eventually. He's going to fight Terrence Crawford. So just like Sugar Ray Leonard fought the Hagler Hearn. Hagler Hearn, Duran fought each other. They all fought each other. That's why the golden era was known as the golden era, because all the great fighters fought each other. So in order to have the repeat of that during our era, Crawford has to do the same thing Errol Spence is doing. You know, like I said, Manny Pacquiao fought all these guys coming off losses. He was fighting Floyd Mayweather leftovers in order to build the Floyd Mayweather fight eventually, because he didn't want the Floyd Mayweather fight back in the day. He turned down a 50-50 split due to needles and drug tests, because he wanted to build a fight, and he thought, like, okay, I'm gonna fight Floyd Mayweather leftovers, the Sugar Shanes, and the list goes on from Hatton, Oscar De La Hoya, and that's going to build a fight up between me and him. If Crawford beat Keith Thurman in a better fashion than Manny Pacquiao, or stop him, that's going to be making a statement. Ain't nobody give a damn about Keith Thurman's arm or none of that. All they're going to care about is that knockout, and Crawford versus Errol Spence is going to build that fight even more. So it's mind-boggling to me to see Crawford being reluctant to make that decision. I mean, come on now. Like I said, I don't know who is in control, because Bob Arum came out. Bob Arum stated Keith Thurman fight. You know, the Keith Thurman team got in touch with me but they out for lunch. They trying to eat. According to Bob Arum, they have so much expectations that don't exist anymore money-wise. So they requesting a lot of money. Now, I suggest Terrence Crawford and Bob Arum to send Terrence Crawford the same money or the same contract they send in Kell Brook. Because Bob Arum added that they looking to fight Kell Brook either in the UK or the United States without crowd. So if it's going to be in the UK without a crowd, it won't make that much money because that's not that much crowd. I mean, that's the whole purpose for Crawford to go to the UK is for the crowd, right? So my point is, you know, Bob Arum needs to send Keith Thurman the same amount of money he sent Kell Brook. Because remember, Danny Garcia turned down Terrence Crawford offer at the time for $3 million, I believe. That's what was reported. And then Bob Arum sent Amir Khan $5 million offer. So it's like, why you didn't send that to Danny Garcia? The same thing here. Bob Arum talking about the Kell Brook fight and Keith Thurman team wanting a lot of money, but why not send Keith Thurman team the same offer y'all sent Kell Brook and see if Keith Thurman signed the contract? Because according to him, send him a contract and he will sign it on IG Live. So if there's a couple zeros on it, couple millions on it, Keith Thurman, he said he's going to sign the contract. So call his bluff out if it's actually a bluff. Let's see if he's keeping it a buck. And I think Keith Thurman really won the fight because he knows what position that will get him back in if he actually beats a Terrence Crawford, right? So like I said, it's, of course, you know, Keith Thurman team going to demand a lot of money. It's a risky fight. It's a great fight. It's going to be most likely on pay-per-view. So why not? Keith Thurman has one of the deepest resume in the welterweight division. He's disrespecting Crawford at the moment, you know, claiming that, listen, I love the Aerospins fight, but Crawford getting under my skin. I want Crawford. Send me the contract. Watch, I sign it on IG Live. So you got to make it happen. You got to make it happen. But the only difference is, like I said, between the two, for the Canelo Alvarez haters, for the Canelo Alvarez fans, the only difference, Canelo Alvarez, imagine Andrade and Charlo. Let's say Andrade and Charlo coming off losses. Is people going to claim Canelo is ducking Andrade or Charlo? Hell no. So the same goes for Crawford. At the end of the day, or at least the night, Keith Thurman and Sean Porter are coming off losses. So you can't claim Crawford is not willing to fight these guys and he's ducking these guys, because at the end of the day, or at least the night, they are coming off losses. That's a fact. I just don't like the reason why they not interested in a Keith Thurman fight. I don't like Bomac explanation. I'm going to keep it a buck when it comes to that. However, as far as him not being interested in the fight, it makes sense. They coming off losses. It looks better if they actually get a win on their record than come howl at, you know, Crawford. But if they don't have a win on their record and they coming off a loss, you can see where Crawford is looking at it. It's like, man, he's questioning them coming off a loss. Like I said, nobody will question Canelo Alvarez if he doesn't fight Charlo or Andrade if they both coming off losses. So you can't question Crawford if he's questioning Keith Thurman and Sean Porter coming off losses. However, at the end of the day, Keith Thurman is still a great name to have on your resume at 147, if we all being truthful. He beat the likes of Danny Garcia, the likes of Sean Porter, the likes of Guerrero. He has a deep resume at 147. He fought Manny Pacquiao. Win or lose to Manny Pacquiao, you're still a tremendous name. I mean, Guerrero, he lost to Mayweather. Then he got a Keith Thurman fight. He lost to Keith Thurman. He got a Danny Garcia fight. He lost to Danny Garcia. He got an Omar Figueroa fight. He lost to Omar Figueroa. So the point is, when Guerrero fought Floyd Mayweather, it increased his profile. So when Keith Thurman fought Manny Pacquiao and lost to Manny Pacquiao, his profile is still the same. because it's Manny Pacquiao. Fighting the likes of Floyd and Pacquiao is not going to hurt your popularity. Matter of fact, it's going to increase it. Now, legacy-wise, that loss definitely hurt his legacy because Keith was talking about, I could beat Manny Pacquiao in his prime. And then he let Manny Pacquiao eat out of that forbidden fruit when Pacquiao turned down a VADA test. And Keith Thurman was like, you know what? You could take whatever you want to take. And that's when he messed up. And that's when I picked Manny Pacquiao to beat Keith Thurman. You don't believe me? Go check the records. So with that being stated, it's a good fight at the end of the day, or at least tonight. But Crawford has to make the right decision. If he's not going to fight guys at 154 that's champions, if he's not going to fight the best at 154, guys that have titles at 154, then who the heck you going to fight at 147? Like I said, Errol Spence's occupied. Manny Pacquiao already turned down the offer because he claimed he want more money. There's no money on the table, according to Bob. So you can't wait for an Errol Spence. You have to stay active. So why not stay active with a Keith Thurman? That's just my opinion on the matter. So, like I said, the Kell Brook fight is a good fight. But Kell Brook, 3 years ago, he blamed losing to Errol Spence on the weight. A lot of people, a lot of even UK fans was like, oh, the reason why Kell Brook lost to Errol Spence is because he can no longer make 147. He too big. But you trying to tell me 3 years later, when he's 3 years older and not as active, he's fighting one time a year, he could still make 147 A-okay? And we haven't seen him against a top level fighter at 154 nor 147. So, like I said, at least Keith Thurman, we know where he's at. And losing to Manny Pacquiao, it should make Keith Thurman a better fighter because now he's going to know, oh, man, it takes more than just being conditioned. I have to be conditioned year-round. I have to take this seriously. And, we already know he got married and kind of that. He got lost in the sauce when it came to that because when he got married, I think he lost the hunger. When he came back to the game, he no longer had that same hunger. Errol Spence changed his whole energy when it came to how he carried himself in the sport. But now, hopefully, the old Keith is back. And if it is, Keith Thurman versus Crawford is a hell of a fight, like Floyd Mayweather always loved to say. So with that being stated, let me go ahead and do the outro real quick. Split Decision episode 50 is over with. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smart about it. And if you're trying to get dumb about it, second, don't and listen to these decasts. The dumb, casual ass fans that don't know shit about boxing. Word to Roger Mayweather. May he rest in peace. Subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified every time I post on Split Decision. Split Decision is a boxing debate / talk show mixed, master, engineered, produced by yours truly, Akhi, the past, present, and future pound for pound. When it comes to debating, I got these decaf shook. They scared to look when Akhi's on TV. Even my own Akhi's could get it. Y'all saw Akhi knock out my own brother today. You know what I mean? I gave him the work on some Loader Lux work. Anybody can get it on Split Decision. Anybody could get this work. Like I told you, decafs, you all going to get this work on some Loader Lux work. So like I said, I appreciate all my Akis. Shout out to OJ, OG Swag, RJ, and everybody in the comment section. All of my Akis. Tune in to Boxing Hood episode 2 this Thursday. I had to postpone a lot of my plans. Obviously, Split Decision is hosted every Sunday. Boxing Hood episode 2, or Boxing Hood in general, is always every Wednesday. But this week, I had to delay my plans because my daughter got sick. With that being stated, I appreciate every single one of you that's tuning in this late. This is the late edition because I had so much going on this week. So with that being stated, quit treating me, quit treating Akhi like the Iron Mike of debate and the most feared. All these decafs, as soon as the live is over, they in the comment section being keyboard warriors. And the whole time I was on live, all these decafs had no cojones. They were scared to call in. Akhi got him shook. They scared to look every time Aki's on TV, but anybody can get it. Call me the can man out here.
Africans, Americans,
so to all the decaps that don't know shit about boxing,
you better not duck me,
and
son.
Call in.
You better not duck me, son.
So with that being stated, you already know what time it is. Our key records stand at what? Around 700 debates with 700 KOs. It ain't no split decision. Ain't nobody saved by the bell. Like I said, it's a straight KO. I won't let the decafs be the judge. I'm not gonna get robbed like Lara got robbed versus Canelo, like Morenez got robbed versus Rolly, like all these fighters that got robbed in the sport of boxing. I'm gonna get a KO every single time. I go straight for the KO on some Iron Mike. So with 700 KOs, a decaf ain't did a damn thing about it, but we already know what time it is. To H Money, T-Tone, and all the above. If I had a lower IQ, I could have enjoyed y'all debates, but I got a higher IQ. So if any of you decafs / YouTube trolls / old media, if any of you dream about or have a nightmare of putting an L on my record, you better wake up and apologize on Split Decision Live. So with that being stated, I appreciate all my Akhis. So I don't think I'm going to be able to knock off another topic, but I truly appreciate all my Akhis. OJ, RJ, my man OG Swag, he says 700 and RJ, my man said 4,000 and You already know. I mean, I'm knocking out every single decaf like more than once. Every single decaf, I'm giving them all these rematches, knocking them out with every topic they got in mind. Professor Stevie Wonder, I mean, I done knocked them out on split decision till the man quit. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Like I said, you got to have credibility to be on my record. But I gave the decafs the opportunity to, since nobody got the cojones to debate Akhi, I come with facts because facts trump opinion. Is always truth over opinion, because like I said, when the truth is spoken, the other side is nothing but a lie. And I truly appreciate all the viewers that's tuning in, from RJ, OG Swag, Luis, Alvardo. He said, hope your daughter is okay. Thank you, fam. I truly appreciate it. Like I said, OG, you already know what time it is. With that being stated, I'm going to go ahead and take you all out. So tune in, Split Decision. Boxing Hood this Thursday.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Hold it. Hold it. You're not that crazy. I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.